Uh, 3 years we did a competition. 3 years we did a competition. And this year, this fiscal year 23, we did a continuation year just to allow ourselves an opportunity to kind of look at and evaluate some of the services that we're doing and also to give our WEI folks an opportunity to continue what they're doing without interruption. So we're trying to look at all different aspects, and I will go through that here in just a few moments. The Workforce Equity Initiative is an initiative between 18 colleges and the ICCB, the Illinois Black Caucus, and the General Assembly. So we have been working on this again this is our 4th year. We've learned a lot since we started. We've done some summative and also some formative evaluations. And before, I'm going to make certain that I give you the website information so that you can go there. So if you would mute your line, that would be great. So as we're moving through the process, we want to talk a little bit about, and it doesn't want to move, so give me just 1 second here. There we go. It pretty much, the WEI program, the Workforce Equity Initiative, and then from here on out, I will refer to it as WEI, was a part of a public act that provided some significant resources to us to respond to some needs within the African American community. And that was to make certain that there was equitable access to workforce programs within community colleges. And so the Legislative Black Caucus, namely Representative Pro Tem Jahan Gordon Booth, pushed forward this legislation in order to increase the number of African Americans that access certificate as well as degree level programs. And so as we were looking at this, we started to take a look at not only our associate degree programs, but we started to take a look at our CTE programs as well, and determined that a low number of minority students were actually accessing, with African Americans being amongst the lowest population to have access. So that when you wake up on a night before and someone says, hey, can you spend 18.7 million? You better believe I can spend $18.7 million. And so we were very happy in which to do that so that we can make certain that we are providing services to everyone. So as we began to take a look at some of our student completers within the community college system, we were looking at some significant changes within 1 year period of time, and you can see on the screen before you that we looked at our numbers, and if we looked at our white students, African American students were amongst some of the lowest, and as you can see, as it went over time, we were starting to decrease in fiscal year 19, which had to do a lot with our COVID, but as you can see in fiscal year 20, we're beginning to do some rebounding in that area. And it's not to say that none of the other populations are important. A big part of this initiative is 60% of the individuals that are served through the community colleges that are funded have to be African American. And the other 40% has to be individuals that are low income status and can be any of the other populations. And I do believe that our second highest population would be our Hispanic population that we're serving. So the whole idea of the Workforce Equity Initiative, WEI, is to create, support, and expand short-term certificates. And these certificates and programs are less than 1 year. So you can see how that definite connection with the PATH program. So if one of our community colleges did healthcare for WEI, and the students were doing that 1 year short-term credential, they could definitely make that transition over to the PATH program to really continue their education and training opportunities. So we were looking and seeking out high need communities that were focused on specific sectors and identify workforce gaps. And so what we actually looked at is that all of the institutions that applied had to look at their local data, they had to look at regional data, they had to look at how they were going to improve workforce activities in disenfranchised in communities within their area. So looking within the community college framework, looking within the districts within the areas, and then making the determination of whether they looked at burning glass or um, burning tree, or I can't remember which one right now, but the local workforce data, looking at institutional data, also maybe looking at local chamber of commerce data, so that can make certain that they were documenting why they were choosing specific industries or sectors. And so we are serving I think we have more than 100 different programs that are being served through the 18 colleges through the WEI program. So again, we want to make certain that we are making sure that African Americans are on the path, and others that we are serving are on the path to success. And so one of the success factors or desired outcomes that we want to have is to make certain that there is employment after completion of any type of the short-term credentials that are offered in the industries that are identified by each college. And one of the biggest areas of looking at employment is that individuals have to at least earn 30% above the regional living wage, or is on a pathway to that. So we are trying to make certain that after obtaining that certification, that folks are able to go right into work. And a little bit later, with one of our colleges that I'm going to highlight, they talk about earning above a 30% wage, and I have a little video that I'm going to show you. Another area in terms of outcomes that Representative Gordon Booth wanted to really stipulate is to accelerate that time to completion. Look at the target population, look at those high skill employment areas, those high wage, in demand occupations, and get folks trained and get them into the workforce.
Hey, Cassandra, it's Will. How's it going?
Good. Hello.
Just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the IS web request, right?
Excuse me, Will, would you mute your line? Thank you. Interesting conversation, but I don't know if you want us all to hear it. So we wanted to look at a lot of the high wage, high skilled occupations, and we wanted to get folks into the industries as quickly as possible. And so in your particular areas, you know that healthcare is a huge concern right now. We need folks in our nursing homes, in our hospitals, any type of nursing facilities. We need folks on that path. So you already know that there is a high demand for those occupations. And so that is similar to what we're seeing in WEI. Just being specific is if there's a specific industry that is being chosen, we have to make sure that there is going to be a job for the individuals following their training. And I'll talk to you about a partnership that we're we're looking at. So in the areas in the state, when we were identifying colleges, but the colleges had to speak to, in their area, the poverty rate. They had to have a poverty rate of at least 20%. They had to have children that participated in the free lunch program. There had to be individuals that may have on supplemental or SNAP resources, the nutrition assistance program, and also an unemployment rate that is more than 120% of the national unemployment average. Well, you already know that our unemployment rate is pretty low right now. We're actually looking, the demand for all occupations are at an all-time high. And so we're trying to work towards that. So, but even still in the African American community, that rate is still higher than our state's average unemployment rate. So this is an opportunity for us to focus in on this particular population. Another area, high rates of any area that's a high rate of arrest, convictions, low rates of home ownership, ex-offenders. We wanted to target those areas because those are those high need areas that really need to help these individuals get back into returning citizens into the communities and get them on a path to employment. So here are the consortia of colleges that we were working with. You'll see that we had 19 colleges and one only didn't continue after the fiscal year 21. So we're at 18 colleges. We have added a few colleges over time. Our newest colleges are Heartland Community College and also Kaskaskia College. Okay, so here are some of our numbers and our outcomes. As you can see, our outcomes are increasing. Even during the pandemic, we were able to kind of maintain some of the areas. We had to do a little bit of switcheroo, as most of you have within your institutions. You had to figure out a way in which to deliver instruction at a distance. Hotspots and laptop computers and lending libraries, all of those things. And we too had an issue with clinical spots and during that pandemic time. So, so some of the numbers probably suffered then. As I stated in the beginning, we have done some formative and summative evaluations. And so we are still in that process. We're working with Northern Illinois University to do some research for us. And we are also doing some things with employment. But as you can see, in looking at the 60% African American students that we're serving, it was pretty high in that first cohort of students. And now we're at 71 and 72% currently through our quarter three right now under fiscal year 22. We have had employer completers, but a lot of this information that we're gathering is as a result of just talking with the individuals. We believe our numbers might be higher, and so we're embarking upon getting an agreement with IDES, the Illinois Department of Employment Security, so we can do some data matching. And so we have been able to collect data from each of the colleges. We've been able to go in and put a check mark in your A1, N1 record layout to identify a WEI student, and then we're able to do a state level data match so that we can make certain that we are meeting some of the completer in terms of employment opportunities. So the average cost per student is about $5,500 right now in the quarter. because we're kind of getting started and folks are getting up and moving, we're somewhere around 2,500 as of a few days ago. So that gives you a little bit of context to our outcomes. So some of the key success factors that we found um, is the campus and community collaborations, and more so collaborating with community-based organizations is a key. Because we want to maximize the amount of resources that we have in WEI, we want to make certain that we are collaborating with SNAP, with the Department of Human Services, with disability services, with child care services, in order to make certain that we are maximizing resources, because there are others that are out there that have received some resources from the U.S. Department of Human Services in way of the pandemic. And so we are able to access those resources and make certain that we are giving students what they need in order to reduce the barriers that they endure. So we've been able to enhance some of the student services and provide navigators and coordinators to provide those one-on-one services. There's been definitely dedicated leadership within the institution from the president on down, and I'm constantly at the President's Council talking about WEI, and we are definitely doing some things in terms of outreach and marketing. We're able to provide stipends to individuals, tuition assistance. There may be some individuals that, for example, they may have attended college before and left a debt. And so we try to make certain that this is not a barrier and try to reduce those barriers. So there is some tuition assistance. Also, if an individual is in need of equipment, if you're going into a welding program, you need a hard hat, you need the face shield, you need the boots and all of those things. So we're able to provide some of those services. And wraparound services, and you'll hear a little bit later, wraparound services are critical to the success of the WEI program. Having the ability to provide, to meet students where they are and take them to where they need to be is important. And so that's why we encourage your programs as well to provide those wraparound services, and also to look at those partnerships so that you can do a lot of referral. So that means that you will have to definitely bring folks together within the community, have conversations about what your needs are in order to be able to reduce those barriers to success for the students. Also, making certain that we are targeting those high demand sectors, making certain that we are putting folks in positions that will earn, either potentially earn or can earn a regional wage of above 30%. Also, removing some of the institutional barriers that I spoke about in terms of intake, in terms of any past debt. The navigators are crucial. Maybe the counseling staff has just a huge student load, but those navigators are there to kind of help those students go down those paths and get them into the services within the institutions that are needed. So I'm going to talk about a new collaboration for fiscal year 22 for the Lumina Foundation with the Lumina Foundation, and using JFF as our partner. One of the things that I talked about a little bit ago was on employment opportunities, and making certain that there is a definite connection to employers and employer needs, and getting students into into their businesses. I mean, it's so important. And, you know, how do we look at some of the mindsets that are taking place? How, you know, we want to make certain that folks within the WEI program, and specifically the African American population, you know, they want to be able to go. We want to make certain that, you know, any biases or things like that that have been there before, we want to take a look at that. And we want to look at equitable practices that take place. And so that, therefore, the name Workforce Equity Initiative, because we do focus on the equity side of things and making certain that African Americans are equipped with all of the essential employability skills, which is a major component of the program, but also making sure that they have access to employers that maybe in the past they haven't had that access to. Also, another outcome of the Lumina project, and we call it ECP, yet another acronym, Employment Connection Project, is that we want to strengthen that data research, and we want to be able to track those folks. And so that's the reason for the intergovernmental agreement with IDES, is to make certain that we can capture that information. We know that sometimes our students move quite a bit, and so we want to be able to capture that information related to employment and accurately report it. They may say, well, I'm just working over here, but you know, then they may switch at some point, and we want to be able to not only do some follow-up with the student, but we also want to do some follow-up on our end as well. So that was the reason that we wanted to move into this project with IDES, and also move into doing more statewide research as it relates to Workforce Equity Initiative and its success, and how we think we're doing versus what the numbers are actually saying. So I'm going to pause here before I move on and kind of talk a little bit about a couple of the institutions and ask if there are any questions. I see that there are 26 comments in the chat. So I will, Stacy, is there any
I am taking a
questions for
look.
me?
It looks like really we are just, everybody's introduced themselves. No questions so far. Does anyone have any questions at all? I'm not seeing any as of yet.
I have my Starbucks, so
You're ready for questions.
yeah, I can keep going. I can definitely. Okay, so I'm going to move on and just talk a little bit about two colleges and just give you a little information to tell you a little bit about how we're structured. We have 18 community colleges that we fund, and then we also fund a lead community college, which is Illinois Central College. And Illinois Central has a coordinator who coordinates all of the 18 community colleges, kind of doing what Stacy and Whitney are doing in terms of bringing the institutions together. But our lead college is responsible for a lot of communities of practice, bringing individuals together, looking at their numbers, giving them feedback, and just really working with a couple of coaches. And we have one coach that's on the line, and that's Rebecca Lake. And so we work with those colleges to make certain if they have any questions, if we need to provide any interventions to provide them some assistance, then that's how we're set up. So I'm going to give you a couple of perspectives from the colleges. This is Illinois Central, their program. As you can see, they have scholarships, tuitions, they pay for fees and books and different supplies and stipends. They also look at loaner libraries for laptops and provide transportation assistance They also look at career services, in which all of the institutions do. They have some core essential employability skills that they must meet. And so they're looking at things like mock interviews, they're looking at job search activities, they're looking at job fairs. And so this is something that Illinois Central is doing aside from the coordination. That's a whole separate unit in terms of the coordination, but this is actually the ICC program. They provide the workforce readiness through a program called GP, and it's the Greater Peoria Employment, I forgot A, and I forgot K, so GP. And so it's pretty much employability skills. They offer lots of certifications, welding simulators, OSHA certification, CPR certification. So some of the same things that you will probably in your healthcare arena, you may be offering, not welding simulators, not the Six Sigma, but maybe some of the CPR as well. So some of the certificate programs that they're providing, the paramedic, LPN programs, some of the CNC as well as HVAC programs. So they provide supportive services or wraparound services, as we would like to call it, rental assistance, water bill, food, childcare. So it's really removing all of the barriers that I can't come because I have childcare issues. Well, we can help you with childcare. We can either do referrals or we can do some assistance to you. I can't make it to work on the third shift because buses don't run. Well, we can provide some transportation assistance or car repair to help an individual to do that. Some students need mental health services. During the pandemic, I think all of our institutions received resources in order to help our students with some of the impact of COVID related to mental health. So ICC also used braided funding situations in which we have provided you with some FAQs. Stacy put out some information about how you can use WEI funds as well as your PATH funds, how you can keep those folks on a pathway to healthcare. And so they also in WEI do some rating of funds. They look at community grants, they look at foundation grants, or opportunities for scholarships in order to help the student to be successful. So trying to take away all the barriers and all the reasons why a student says, I can't do this, I can't. So we want to change that I can't into an I can do it because of all of these services. Also, making certain that we're looking at sustainability of the workforce equity initiative. It is our hope and our prayer that all of these resources will stay around, but we also want to be realistic and we want to talk to our colleges about, sustainability. And so they're already reaching out to look at other funding opportunities that may supplement what they're doing in order to help even more individuals achieve some of the pathway results and also achieve their goals in short-term credentials. So this is Dr. Sheila Bailey, president of Illinois Central College. And one of the things that they did in this last year is put a video together for their local community. And that is one thing that we're going to continue, and we're going to do a whole video of the entire state and then work with a few colleges to put together something specific for their communities in this next fiscal year. So I want to show this to you. So it's about 3 minutes, so bear with me.
Jennifer, the sound isn't working on our end, so you may have to go to your, like the mute button and go to the audio options, and I think you're able to
Okay.
select that. Or maybe Stacy, if you're the host, you may be able to
Okay.
do that.
Let's see if I can. And what did you say, Whitney? Go to?
Yeah, like your mute button and there, like the little arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you go to audio settings, I'm not the host, so I can't see all the things that you can see. You should be able to use your computer audio somewhere.
Okay. Let's see if this works. Can you hear it now?
Hey,
Is it good?
Not yet.
Yep.
Whitney, I made you a co-host because you could probably do this quicker than I could.
Okay.
no.
All right, hold on one second.
Can you hear it now?
Nope.
No.
Hold on one second.
Sorry about that.
Whitney, it may be under the share screen. There should be a box where you share sound as well.
Oh, yes. Okay. Um, it's not on my end. Jennifer,
Yeah, mine
click your,
either.
click your share, that arrow by the share screen, and see if it allows you to
Right.
advance sharing, if it says anything about the sound.
Okay. Just 1 second. See if you can hear it. If not, I'll just do a summary. Can you hear it?
Nope.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Okay. Well, it worked earlier.
Jennifer,
Well,
Jennifer, it might be you stop share and then go to share screen again. And before you click on the screen you want to share, there's a little checkbox that says share sound. Click that, click the screen you want to share, then share it.
Right.
And it should.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you
Tutorial.
all for the team effort.
Yeah, no kidding.
Absolutely.
Thank you. How about now?
Nope.
Mhm. Okay. Well, I'll just summarize. I'm sorry about that. But I
And we
will
can
just
share the link out
summarize,
too later too, Jen, if you can
yes.
share it with us. Yeah.
And it was a great showing too, so. But just to summarize, the first guy was a 43-year-old African-American who was sitting, he said, and watching time go by. And now he's a 43-year-old that has an occupation in welding that pays him a lot of money. And so he is very grateful to the WEI program. The next individual was an individual that she was a mother of three kids, and she obtained her LPN license, and she talked about her struggles with childcare and how the WEI program helped her in terms of helping her find childcare, as well as paying her a stipend and even food assistance. Sometimes our students have that, and transportation assistance as well. So she's able to provide for herself as well as her children. And so she was very happy about that. So that's a quick summary of that, but you will be able to hear that when we forward this PowerPoint over to you. So I'm going to share my screen again and move on to the next college, which is Kennedy King College. Give me 1 second as the slideshow progresses. Kennedy King College, now it wants to play the video. No, we don't want to play the video. No. Okay. I do apologize. I guess the sharing is, here we go. Okay, so Kennedy King College, one of the city colleges of Chicago, talks about their programs. They have construction, plumbing, in construction in both carpentry and masonry. And then also they provide supportive services in terms of free tuition programs, essential skills, working with unions as well as employers. They have under transportation assistance. They do quite a bit with partnering within their community, and also they do some of the textbook rentals, technology access, and they do for those students, again, that they are experiencing food insecurities, they also provide food for those individuals or make referrals to different food pantries around the community. So some of the employers that they work with, and this is very key to the success of the WEI program, is, well, it starts, first of all, it starts with workforce. So that means we want to get these folks into the workforce. So looking at differing unions, maybe looking at some apprenticeship type models, maybe also looking at some of the Illinois Department of Transportation. As we know, there's lots of construction that is happening on our roads these days. And so it's very important that we provide the skills that are necessary for those folks to be successful. So employers are a key part of what we do, because we want to make certain that not only that individuals receive the training, but they also move into the employment world. So here is a highlight of an individual, Giles, who is an overhead electrical line worker. And he works for ComEd, and I was on a meeting this morning, and in the middle of the meeting, all my power went out in the house for 1 hour. And it was very cold here in Central Illinois, somewhere around 30, 32. And so it got a little chilly in here. So he works for ComEd, and he is earning $46.37 per hour. And he went through their short-term program, and now is working and earning way above a 30% regional living wage. So he is happy. It helped him to kickstart his journey as it being in the electrical field. And so when Kennedy King talked to us about it, saying that he really is enjoying his employment. So that is just one of the success stories of many on the website of www.illinoiswei.org. I guess I need more Starbucks coffee, so you can find more success stories there. And so we would encourage you to make sure that you're putting those success stories together, because as you know, your representatives and your senators will be knocking on your door and saying, what are you doing to help my student in this area in the healthcare path? So I encourage you to document all of your success stories because they're very important. Don Keltzau is our person at ICC that oversees or brings the consortia of colleges together. And what we provide are lots of meetings. We have a meeting coming up on December 5th where we're bringing all 18 colleges together so that we can talk about some grant information, but also provide folks with an opportunity to share what they're doing and making certain that we can learn from each other, because the project itself is built upon us learning from all of the colleges and putting this project together. Also coaching services, I mentioned Dr. Rebecca Lake, who is on the call, is one of our coaches. And we have a couple of coaches that have divided up all of the colleges, and they provide that support to the colleges and helping them to kind of figure out which direction they would want to go in. They do reporting and also program evaluation. We have equity trainers to make certain that we're all on the same page as it relates to access, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And also making certain that we do some advocacy efforts in order to make certain that we keep the resources. That's why it's so important to document so that we're in year 4, and we hope to be moving on to year 5 and year 6. But that's how you have to do it. You have to make sure that you're advocating and also documenting your success. This is the website, illinoiswei.org. And as you can see, each college has their own page on the website. So you can go there and visit any of the colleges. So 18 of you on this call have a WEI person. And I did see Candace from Lincoln Land, and Candace is on this call, and Candace is our WEI person as well. So we want PATH and WEI to have conversations, especially if the WEI program is doing a pathway in healthcare. And just to get general information as to what's happening in the area. So again, we do some evaluation. We are working with Northern Illinois University to do yet another evaluation. We use Vega Partners in the past, and they are very good. And those are also located on the website. This gives you just a little bit of information about just some spotlights and videos that are on the WEI website. As you can see, Kennedy King, there is folks there from Peoria. We also have an ICC and Lincoln Land Community College. And the one in the corner up there, I can't remember where he's from, but this gives you just a understanding that even some of our individuals are going into non-traditional industries, and so we're very pleased. Truck driving, nursing, just some of the areas that would sometimes be stated as a strictly female or strictly male but we're seeing the gamut. We're seeing folks go into areas. Now, you wouldn't want me to drive a truck. Now, I do drive a big conversion van, but it's nothing like a truck. So you wouldn't want me to do that. But I think it's just wonderful to see folks that are venturing out to realize their plans, and they're also being successful in earning a family sustaining wage. So that's the end of my presentation. Sorry that the video did not work. It was great. It was the highlight of everything, but you will be able to see it as a part of the when we send this out. But I want to answer any questions. I think the FAQs sort of summed it up a lot in terms of providing you with guidance as to how you can work with both WEI, moving those folks into the PATH programs and counting certificates and such. So, any questions that you have?
So I see one question in the chat. Nate Keener had asked if colleges can still sign up to participate.
Can they sign up to participate in WEI?
Yes.
Is what okay. We are in a continuation year this year. We are going to evaluate that towards the end of the fiscal year to determine, probably around March, to determine whether or not we're going to do a competition. And if we do, then all colleges can compete for those resources. And it's my hope that that sometime in the future that, you know, we all the colleges, such as like the PATH program, can have access to WEI, because I think it's very important that that we're looking at all populations, because we want to make certain that all our populations are being successful.
Okay. Any other questions that anyone has while we have Jennifer here? I also wanted to say that Crystal, thank you very much. She shared the link to the YouTube video, and it
Okay.
is in the chat. I also am going to send everything out to everyone that's on the PATH listserv. Okay, so Nate says, or maybe I misunderstood, should non-WEI schools work with WEI schools on PATH, or what's the connection to PATH for the non-WEI schools?
I think that the connection to PATH are the WEI schools, because you will be working within your own community college districts. So if you're Lincoln Land and you have a WEI program, but you also you're working, you have a PATH grant, Lincoln Land does have WEI. So the connection there is sit down, talk with each other, and just try to figure out, you know, how you can collaborate and partner, as especially if you're in the healthcare area, if your WEI program has a healthcare area.
And
And
to
so-
add to that, oh, sorry, Stacy.
Go right ahead.
I was just going to say, it sounds like your college does not have the Workforce Equity Initiative. And so I think the point of this webinar is one, to not only talk about the collaboration, but two, PATH was designed to emulate the WEI model. So that was an opportunity for you to learn about the Workforce Equity Initiative, its successes, the fact that it is grounded in research, and that you can utilize that model in your PATH program.
And I also think that there will be opportunities for a sort of a learn and share, and stay tuned for that in the future. We have an opportunity to do some sort of symposium sometime in the spring, early summer, spring. So there will be an opportunity for all colleges to come together and learn a little bit more about WEI, employer engagement, all of those things that definitely will have some commonality to both programs.
Okay, any other questions that we have while we're on the call? I'm not seeing any.
I see Patrice that's there, so those are some common names that I've heard in the WEI world, so. And even if, you know, you don't have a WEI program and you want to touch base with, you know, some of the institutions or an institution that's close by, just to kind of, you know, pick their brain, that's fine.
All right. Well, it looks like we have about 5 minutes left, so I think everybody's going to end up getting 5 minutes back on their day. This has been recorded, and again, I will send everybody out a link. You know, let your coworkers know if they didn't get to, your colleagues know if they didn't get to be on the call today, and it will also include a link to the video. Otherwise, I appreciate everyone taking the time to be with us today. And, you know, if you have any questions at all, feel free to shoot me a message. I do my best to get back to those pretty quickly. I know I owe a couple of people some messages today, so I'll be getting on those. And other than that, I hope everyone has a fantastic day.
Thank you, Sexy. Thank you.